Okay, my name is Max David, and I am the second recitation speaker, from Never speaker. Now, my opponent, Joseph, claimed that it will actually help the economy by creating jobs and raising revenue. It will not affect the environment, and it will be the greenest stadium. That they will have a team, and that there is crime, but it will be controlled by the police. Right. First, the stadium will create jobs, but the effect of the stadium will not help the economy. Stadiums, in general, do not affect the, do not positively help the economy. Dennis Coates, in his dissertation at the University of Maryland, said that the professional sports environment in the 37 metropolitan areas that he had sampled had no measurable impact on the growth rate of real per capita income in the areas. So even if there is an increase in jobs, it's not going to actually affect the area. Now, also in the same dissertation, he stated that according to the stadium's own estimates, that at best there's only a 0.72 increase in local tax revenue and a 0.15% rate in the total of the state revenue increase. The problem is, though, that those estimates are inaccurate. They're inflating it so that the stadium's inflated, that way it looks better. And they do this by counting factors that are present, that will occur whether or not the stadium is actually there. So, at best, the stadium is having an insignificant effect on the economy, regardless of the jobs. And then also, the stadium said that they're not going to ever be built, that they won't build the stadium until they have a team. But the thing is that the team is, because of the current problems with the teams and the managers, there's not going to be a team ready until at least the summer of 2011, which means that they're not going to be able to start they're not willing to start this construction until then. So that's putting off the jobs increase. Joseph also said that it will be the most green stadium that has ever existed. But just because it's the most green does not mean that it's acceptable. Or just to take the extreme for an example, killing 1,000 people is bad. Killing 800 people is bad. But just because it's 200 less does not make it any better. And he said that they're not even willing to measure the impact that it's going to have on the environment. So there is no way to ever realize the true effect that it's going to have on the environment. And he said this is due to that it will help the economy, but I have already shown that it will not help the economy. At best, it will leave the economy unaffected. Joseph also said that as for the teams, that they will have the preparation, and that that they're preparing to have the team by 2010. It's already 2010. There's the current problem. They're not going to be able to get a team this year. So the stadium's own estimate isn't going to. And he's saying that the Chargers are a likely candidate. They have to pay $56 million to move. That's a lot of money to pay just to move right now, instead of waiting however long it will take for their contract to be up. So there is no reason why the Chargers will move. Joseph's last thing was that there will be crime, but the cops will make up for it. The problem is that the cops are going to be costs for the cops will be on the local area. So that it will hurt the local area because they're having to pay for these extra 24 cops that are constantly paid. Okay. Now, to go back to the point where the stadiums harm the economy that Alexis brought up, in the article "Tax Revenue for the Florida Marlins Stadium Falling Short" by Douglas Haynes in the Miami Herald, it said that Miami took a $170 million bond for the Florida Marlins Stadium, saying new taxes on the hotels were covered. The stadium pays approximately 1/4 of the interest until 2028, but the bond will cost $652 million through 2038. That is 10 years of no payments from the stadium. And if you divide that 652, you get $163 million, or divided in 4. So that's the absolute most that they would ever pay. So they're getting a free $7 million right there, and they're also going to be paying a lot less because they don't have to pay any of those payments for that 10 years. And stadiums raise taxes in the local area. In Ken Belson's article, Stadium Boom Deepens Municipal Woes, from the New York Times, in Cincinnati there was a 0.5 increase in sales tax to pay for the stadium, public schools, and allow for annual property rebates. The sales tax still had a deficit, which means that there were no property rebates. And the schools were not accepting the money for the first few years because they did not need it. That meant all the money raised by that 0.5% increase went to the stadium, and that still was not enough to cover the cost. So that meant that the stadium was draining money from the local economy by increasing taxes. Teams also used the threat of moving to other stadiums to have the government remodel or renovate existing stadiums. So just because that the Chargers are thinking about moving, they might get a new stadium on their own already. In Mike Dodd's article, Baseball New Classes, Yankee Stadium and Met City Field, from USA Today, it says that the Yankee Stadium, after its renovations, is now charging tickets for what most of the taxpayers who pay for it in the local area cannot afford. That means that the people who pay for it are no longer able to actually go to the stadium, so that the stadiums are not effective. So I would like to thank you, and I hope that you agree with me that the stadium will harm the economy. Just because it's the greenest stadium does not mean that it's still tolerable, and that there will be an increase in crime, which is unreasonable, and that the problem of not having a team will harming the economy.